right, thanks for us. Great job, guys. Last but certainly not least, we'll have David and Patrick presenting what they found on the World Games in Birmingham.
Hey there, folks. My name is David Hedrick, and today we're going to be talking to you about the World Games in Birmingham. This event is going to be huge in so many ways, and we'll both cover a different aspect of the Games and our city's story. I'll be starting with why our city is perfectly positioned for the Games and why we were chosen over the other potential hosts, Ufa, Russia, and Lima, Peru. And I'll also take a look at how many people will be coming to Birmingham this June. Before we get to how many people will be coming to the Games, though, let's look at each host city's population density. Now, we were, without a doubt, the smallest of the three potential host cities, but that isn't what this chart is about. No, this visual here shows that sometimes smaller is better. When we looked at these potential host cities from the perspective of their population density, Birmingham won by a country mile. Lima, the largest of the potential host cities, is at 10 million people strong. It's the most densely populated by far, and Birmingham, you can see, is the least densely populated. We have got so much more space per person, perfect for hosting guests with ease and aplomb. We've got the space for them to walk around in, but do we have room for them to sit down? I've run the numbers, and I'm excited to share what I've found. As part of our bid to host the Games, Birmingham agreed to expedite the construction of Protective Life Stadium, and thank goodness they did. This stadium added 45,000 seats to the city's total available seating and pushed us well beyond the other two in terms of available seating per local resident. All told now, Birmingham has roughly 150,000 seats, while Lima has 210,000. But our smaller population means more seats per local. More seats per local means more room for tourists, and that's the second great reason why Birmingham was chosen as host. The third big reason why Birmingham, it's a real slam dunk. Ufa, Russia only has one bus stop in the entire city, and it is exclusively for intercity bus travel. While Lima has several private bus services that stop for customers who manage to wave them down, but they only have one fairly small public bus line, which is 38 stops that really only go through the center of the city. Only Birmingham has the unified public transportation infrastructure needed to get athletes and guests to and from the Games, with max buses stopping at over 2,000 stops around the Birmingham metro area every single day. But how many people will be riding Birmingham's bus system this June? Let's take a look. This fantastic infographic shows just how huge the World Games is going to be. More than 1,000 media members will be in Birmingham to document the World Games. Upwards of 3,000 local volunteers have been assembled and are ready to go. 3,600 athletes from all around the world will be flying in for the duration of the Games. And biggest of all, more than 500,000 tourists are expected to make their way to Birmingham for the Games. And this isn't a one-off event, no way. The city's gearing up, reaching out, and getting involved. Pam Cook, a member of the World Games board, put it best. Once the Games end, we want Birmingham ready for the next major event. We're setting the stage to be the premier location for major conferences, conventions, concerts, and sporting events. Birmingham is on the move. To dive more into the World Games themselves, let's turn to my teammate, Patrick Lewis.
Thank you, David. My name is Patrick Lewis, and I'll be talking about the impact that the World Games will have across the city of Birmingham. There will be a total of 15 venues that will be used across Birmingham to accommodate each sport. There are a total of 34 unique sports represented in the World Games. A tree map displayed in this slide showcases each venue along with each sport that will take place at said venue. You will notice that venues hosting a range of sports are positioned on the left-hand side of the graphic, while venues hosting the least amount of sports are positioned on the right-hand side of the graphic. A map displaying the road view of each venue is located on the left-hand side of the screen. Each venue is represented by a bubble. A table displaying the venue distance from Protective Stadium by car and a table displaying the venue distance from Protective Stadium by foot can be seen on the right-hand side of the screen. This data was collected using Google Maps. Protective Stadium was chosen as a central location because the opening and closing ceremonies will take place there. Both tables are broken into 3 different columns. These columns are location name, miles, and minutes. Each table is respectively sorted by the number of minutes it takes to get to a certain venue. Transportation will play a major role in the World Games. The bus route shown on this slide is Max Transit Route 90, the Matic City Connector. This bus route runs along 20th Street and provides direct transportation to Uptown, which is located right next to Protective Stadium and other venues for the World Games. There are currently 6 operational buses that run this route. If you direct your attention towards the very top right-hand corner of the screen, you will see the bus schedule. A bus runs every 20 minutes during the week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. A bus also runs every 30 minutes on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The cost to take this form of transportation is 30 cents per ride. The World Games will feature 3,600 elite athletes, 1,500 coaches and technicians from more than 100 countries. You may be wondering where they will all stay. The University of Alabama at Birmingham will host the 2022 World Games UAB Athlete Village, which will offer housing in UAB residence halls for athletes, coaches, and officials. UAB Medicine will also be the presenting sponsor for athletics and spectator medical services at each venue. In a recent article written on February 26, 2022 by the Chief Executive Officer of the World Games, Nick Sellers, Mr. Sellers states that the World Games will draw 500,000 visitors to the world's first multi-sport competition with full venues again. This will be the second time in history that the World Games will take place in the United States, and this will also provide great opportunity for the city of Birmingham. The World Games is expected to have an estimated $256 million economic impact for Birmingham and Alabama. Many of the 500,000 visitors will be eating at area restaurants and staying at area hotels. More than 1,500 credentialed members of the media are coming in from around the world. Combined, the World Games visitors are projected to book around 32,000 nights at area hotels. That concludes my portion of the presentation. I will now pass it back to Taylor.